might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. Nothing's more important than stopping fascism because fascism will stop us all.
What type of black leader is more dangerous than one that tries to unite black people? One that tries to unite all people. Join us as we examine the life of Fred Hampton. We'll explore the legacy of a man whose revolutionary vision and dedication to justice made him a powerful force for change and a target of the establishment. If you love Black history, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
We work with anybody and form coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism.
The Great Migration saw millions of African Americans leave the oppression and racially motivated violence of the Jim Crow South for more opportunities and the freedom available in the northern and western parts of the country. Major cities like Washington, D.C., New York, and Chicago gave new life to working-class African American families. Frederick Allen Hampton was born August 30th, 1948, in a suburb in Chicago. His parents, Iberia and Francis Hampton, migrated to Chicago from Louisiana. Both of his parents worked at the Argo Starch Company. The youngest of 3 children, Fred adopted the work ethic of his parents while also showing early signs of community involvement, leadership, and social awareness. At just 10 years old, Fred would host breakfast at his house, cooking the meals himself for his fellow comrades. Even though acts like this proved to be a precursor for things to come, he still was a kid. In school, he excelled in the classroom as well as in sports. Fred was exceptional in baseball and had dreams of one day playing for the New York Yankees. But what continued to shine through was his deep sense of justice and willingness to put it all on the line to right wrongs. In high school, Fred led walkouts protesting black students' exclusion from the competition for homecoming queen. He even called on officials to hire more black teachers and administrators. This passion for equality only grew as he became more aware of systemic oppression. After graduating from high school with honors and varsity letters, Fred went on to attend Triton Junior College, where he studied pre-law. Around 18 years old, he began to discover and identify with communist revolutionaries like Che Guevara, Ho Chi Minh, and Mao Zedong. Fred even went as far as not only advocating for peace during the Vietnam War, but also victory for North Vietnam. Another example of his exceptional ability to galvanize masses of people came when he assumed a leadership role within the youth council of the local branch of the NAACP. As a youth organizer, he was able to attract 500 members to work together in efforts to establish better recreational facilities in the neighborhoods and to improve educational resources for the community. Acts of service, community engagement, leadership, and activism made him a perfect recruit for the biggest, most radical black force in America at that time, the Black Panther Party. Enjoying our content? Consider becoming an exclusive member by clicking the Join button. The Black Panther Party was founded in 1966 by Huey Newton and Bobby Seale in Oakland, California. The organization sought to combat systemic racism, police brutality, and economic inequality affecting Black Americans. The Panthers' philosophy combined Black empowerment with Marxist-Leninist ideas, emphasizing self-defense and community control. By 1968, the Panther Party had gained national prominence with chapters across the United States. They advocated for armed self-defense, enacted community programs, and confronted systemic racism head-on. To many mainstream institutions, including the government and media, the Panthers were considered dangerous and militant, largely due to their public display of firearms and radical rhetoric. We're pretty sure that all the black outfits and afros were pretty frightening to the mainstream as well. This made Fred Hampton a perfect candidate to lead the Panthers Chicago chapter. However, because of the growing reputation of the Panthers and his own growing reputation, this new partnership put Fred in the bullseye of the establishment. Shortly after joining the Panthers, he experienced what many believe was a politically motivated incident. In the summer of 1968, Fred Hampton was accused of stealing $71 worth of ice cream and distributing it to local children in Chicago. In May 1969, he was convicted of robbery and assault and sentenced to 2 to 5 years in prison. The charges were widely seen as politically motivated, designed to disrupt his activism and undermine his leadership in the Black Panther Party. He maintained his innocence, and many of his supporters believed the case was fabricated as part of a broader effort by authorities to target him. Fortunately, Fred was released on appeal in August 1969, and Chairman Fred didn't waste any time once he was back home. Now the deputy chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panthers, Chairman Fred achieved many successes in a short time. First, he voiced his opposition to sexism, considering it counter-revolutionary. Fred understood that men and women were needed in order to combat the opposing forces, and that any revolution would be lost without the help of women. By 1970, the Black Panther Party was close to 50% women. One of his most revolutionary feats came from his help in achieving a non-aggression pact between Chicago's most powerful street gangs. Chairman Fred's vision brought peace among the Blackstone Rangers, the Vice Lords, and the Disciples. Fred's ability to unite didn't stop at street gangs. What made him even more potent was his ability to bring together various groups who shared his vision of not only peace, but also social and economic justice. He brought together the Puerto Rican nationalist group, the Young Lords, and the Appalachian migrants called the Young Patriots. This collective solidarity, this groundbreaking alliance among beliefs rather than race, formed the Rainbow Coalition. Chairman Fred's ability to rally the masses of the oppressed, who shared socioeconomic challenges rather than their particular race, and his oratorical gifts helped him rise quickly within the Black Panther Party. It also attracted the attention of local law enforcement, as well as the FBI's COINTELPRO initiative. This coalition building made Hampton a threat to the status quo, drawing significant attention from J. Edgar Hoover, who determined Chairman Fred was a black messiah. We got to face some facts, that the masses are poor, that the masses belong to what you call the lower class, and when I talk about the masses, I'm talking about the white masses, I'm talking about the black masses, and the brown masses, and the yellow masses too. We've got to face the fact that some people say you fight fire best with fire, but we say you put out fire best with water. We say you don't fight racism with racism. We're going to fight racism with solidarity. We say you don't fight capitalism with no black capitalism. You fight capitalism with socialism. Fred Hampton. On multiple occasions, Fred Hampton said, "You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution." It was this type of thinking, but most importantly, his ability to rally others behind those types of sentiments, that landed him on the desk of FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover was determined to prevent any cohesive black movement in the United States. Through his COINTELPRO initiative, Hoover and the FBI would identify the Black Messiah, and through several tactics including infiltration, psychological warfare, and undermine public perception. His prior targets included Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King Jr. The FBI now believed Fred Hampton was worthy of the Black Messiah title. The FBI opened a file on him in 1967, before he even joined the Black Panther Party. By the following year, the Bureau tapped Hampton's house phone and placed Fred on the agitator index as a key militant leader. Infiltration tactics were implemented around the time he joined the Panthers, when the FBI recruited William O'Neill. O'Neill had recently been arrested for car theft and impersonating an officer, to which the Bureau offered him a clean slate and cash for his cooperation in helping infiltrate the Black Panther Party. William O'Neill joined the party and quickly rose in the organization, becoming director of chapter security and Hampton's bodyguard. Their next tactic was psychological warfare. Using anonymous letters, the FBI sowed distrust and eventually instigated the split between the Panthers and the Blackstone Rangers. O'Neill instigated an armed clash between the two organizations on April 2, 1969. These tactics led to the Panthers becoming effectively isolated from their power base in the Chicago ghetto. The next phase, undermine public perception, came when the FBI released a batch of racist cartoons in the Panthers' name, aimed at alienating white activists. It also launched a disinformation program to forestall the formation of the Rainbow Coalition. On July 16, 1969, an armed confrontation between party members and the Chicago Police Department resulted in one Panther member being mortally wounded and 6 others arrested on serious charges. The tension, the deception, and the misdirection continued to amplify within and around Chairman Fred and the Black Panther Party. The sad part is that undercover operative William O'Neill had nothing but positive things to report back. Through documented evidence, he continued to report that the Panthers were not violent or militant terrorists, but rather that all they did were things like feed the children of the neighborhood, to which the FBI responded, "Find something or else." Unfortunately, this led O'Neal to start fabricating and over-exaggerating to please his handlers. In October 1969, Fred and his girlfriend, Deborah Johnson, lived together at 2337 West Monroe Street in Chicago. Deborah was pregnant. O'Neal reported to his superiors that much of the Panthers' guns were stockpiled at this address and drew a map of the apartment. Still following along? Consider clicking the join button and becoming an exclusive member of our team. The wall started to close in on the Chicago chapter of the Panther Party. While Fred was in California for a speaking engagement, on the night of November 13, 1969, a gun battle took place between the Chicago police and the Black Panthers. The fight left 2 officers and 1 Panther dead, with multiple wounded on both sides. 1 Panther was charged with murder, and local newspapers urged Chicago police officers to be ready to shoot approaching Black Panthers. COINTELPRO was working, and assassination was the next phase. In the late hours of December 3, 1969, Fred returned home, accompanied by several Panthers, including his pregnant girlfriend. William O'Neal was already there, preparing meals for the group, which they ate around midnight. At some point, O'Neal slipped secobarbital, a drug used to treat insomnia, into Fred's drink. O'Neal left after dinner, and the drug he slipped Fred took hold around 1:30, completely sedating the chairman. At 4 a.m. on December 4th, a heavily armed Cook County police team stormed the apartment of the Panthers as they slept, guns drawn. Fred Hampton, who was still sedated, laid asleep next to his 8 months pregnant girlfriend. Almost 100 rounds were fired during the raid. Only 1 came from the Panthers. During the initial assault, Fred was wounded in the shoulder. However, upon the discovery that he was still alive, officers removed Deborah from the room, and as Fred lay there sedated, wounded but alive, an officer executed him while he was still in bed. He was only 21 years old. The assassination of Fred Hampton was confirmed in the 1971 documentary, The Murder of Fred Hampton. On March 8, 1971, while the world was watching the Ali Frazier fight, a break-in at the FBI office in Pennsylvania exposed the existence of the illegal counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO. Uncovered were documents of Hampton's apartment floor plan and a deal that had been brokered between U.S. Deputy Attorney General Richard Kleindienst to conceal the FBI's role in Hampton's death, as well as the existence of COINTELPRO. Fred Hampton's death was one of the many strikes that eventually led to the crumbling of the Black Panther Party. By 1982, the party effectively ended. But the legacy of Chairman Fred lives on. Fred Hampton's legacy is one of profound impact and inspiration, rooted in his dedication to social justice, community empowerment, and multiracial solidarity. From making breakfast for friends at just 10 years old, to leading the Free Breakfast for Children program in Chicago, as well as organizing health clinics and educational initiatives. When he said power to the people, he meant all people. His willingness to fight racism with multiracial solidarity, uniting people under a vision and not just skin color. His understanding that a revolution cannot happen without the people, and that included men and women. Fred Hampton's legacy is a testament to the power of grassroots organizing and the enduring influence of revolutionary ideas. He remains a symbol of resistance, courage, and the unyielding fight for a more just and equitable world.